Are there trailer parks in India?
Yeah, there's something worse than trailer parks. So it's a trailer park, but there is no trailer, there's no park. It's just people living on a piece of land, just drinking out of the sewage.
Is that where you lived?
No, I was sewage adjacent, not in the sewage. No, I had a good upbringing. I did not face, I wouldn't say any, but did not face many hardships. At least that's how I look at it. But yeah, there's a lot of poverty there. So it's almost like a trailer park would be an upgrade.
Trailer park would be an upgrade from living in nothing.
Yeah.
Nah, like, how is it? Do you think there is a media portrays it differently in India, like from what it actually is?
Like Western media?
Yeah, I guess because we are Western, so yeah.
Yeah, like here in the US and shit. Yeah, sure. I mean, it's always like, and there's a narrative that the media will show that, okay, India, poverty, gang rape, whatever, right? Like, so that those are the things you'll hear about, the negative stuff, people scamming other people, like all the like the IT scammers and stuff. A lot of that is true, does happen, but that's not the only thing that happens. It's a country of 1.3, pushing 1.4 billion people. So there's a lot of diversity in India. So you think about an Indian person, you would just look at that person like maybe somebody the cashier at like whatever, a gas station, right? You look at them and like, oh, that's an Indian person, but he could be like one of like 1,000 different ethnicities within India. So there's like, so it's so diverse from that standpoint.
When you say like diversity, because I was thinking like maybe America deals with so much of the racism is because we're so diverse of a place, whereas if you go to like China, there's mostly only Chinese people. Would you say like there's like a lot of racism in India still?
Yeah, I mean, race is like a funny word or concept, right? So it's not racism in that strictest sense, but there are other isms. There's like bigotry between different groups. You have different castes, different social classes. There's something called colorism, like people who have a darker complexion have a hard time. I think that's true of like in the black community too. Like people who have a darker complexion kind of have a harder time within the community, not from outside. So there are all these other different like other things that do have an impact where people face bigotry. Caste being an important one, religion is a big one.
Do you think that's because I know in the like Afro Latinos and shit, that's a big thing they get is to lighten up the race. Is that something is that kind of a universal thing? Is that even in India too?
Like you were saying, Afro Latinos get a hard time from other Latinos?
Well, it's kind of like for personally, because I'm not black, but my buddy, she actually was told as her grandma told her, you want to lighten up the family, so get someone a bit whiter.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's a big thing, bro. That is such a big thing in India. Like, yeah, there's pushback now. People are being more woke, you can say, but it's not like the bad kind of woke where it's excessive, but people are kind of pushing back because in India, like, dark is almost synonymous with ugly.
Really?
Like, quite literally, and it's not even like a secret. Like, my mom will say that. My mom will be like, she's dark. But it's not a race thing. She's not thinking of like a black person when she's saying that. She's thinking of an Indian person of a darker complexion. Doesn't make it any better, right? It's still a bad thing, but that's how everybody thinks about it. Lighter skin is better, darker skin is worse. I don't know why that is. Probably I could speculate on like 5 different reasons why it is, but that's how it is. Darker skin is bad. Like there was this product called Fair and Lovely. So it's just a cosmetic, like just cheap cosmetic product, which is essentially like a cream that like apparently if you put it on, like you'd get lighter, your skin would like get lighter, which is bullshit. That's not how it works. But how the ads for those, and you could look these up on YouTube. There you go, like Fair and Lovely ad. You'd show the first shot, establishing shot would be like a dark skinned chick walking into like get a job, right? And she gets rejected because she's like all ugly and shit, right? Ugly and shit. And then she goes back home, her friend like gives her the product, whatever, Fair and Lovely, and she uses that for like 6 weeks, and then they show her transition like from dark to fair. And then she walks and blows everybody away at the same office, gets the job. They do the same thing with like a relationship or somebody trying to get married.
I feel like they should do that for like a parody of Michael Jackson or something like that. That would have been pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, probably that's where they got the idea. That's what Michael Jackson did. Like, but he spent much more than like the 50 cents that cream cost.
Yeah.
He probably dropped like a few $1 million.
He had a skin disease, so he invested a little bit more.
Yeah, he had a skin disease called "I hate my black skin." That was his condition.
Can I make a clip out of that?
Sure. It's worse than alopecia, apparently. Can you imagine if like Jada Pinkett, like this? I know this. You want these interviews to be timeless, but can you imagine if like Jada Pinkett Smith just went like full Michael Jackson and just like transition into like a white man? That'd be hilarious.
I love it. I don't go for time. If you want to use references, let's do it.
Yeah.
But how was it? When did you come over to America?
2014.
2014. How was that? Was that culture shock, or you're just like, it's pretty dope?
Culture. Not a lot of culture shock really, because I wouldn't say grew up, but like in my formative years, in my teen years, like all the way up till I moved here. I moved here when I was 23. Like I consumed a lot of American pop culture, a lot of movies and TV shows, shit like that, comedy. I'm a big comedy fan, so I consumed all of that. So I kind of knew about it, but obviously there's some shit that was different than what my perception was, because for some reason I thought like people would be making out a lot, like on the streets and in public.
Very sexualized.
Yeah, very sexual, but none of that's happening really. Maybe like you go to a club, somebody's finger fucking someone, but outside of that, it's pretty like everybody's ugly. Like it's just fat people walking around, trying not to get off their mobility scooter at a Walmart. They're not making out in public, right? So that was like kind of different. I hadn't thought I would have thought there were way more like attractive people out and about.
Because I just feel like if you kind of got all your opinion from like America, from like the things you watch, I feel like if they watched like Euphoria over in another country and they come over here and they're just like, I just thought we fucked every 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like in this.
Yep, you got it. Yeah, that's kind of what it is.
Is there ever, I'm just curious, like as far as, because in the US we travel, we take the passport. Is it as easy to travel from India to, say, if you want to go to like Thailand or something real quick?
Sure, yeah. You could get visa on arrival. So it's just some countries. So yeah, something like a Thailand, you want to go to Indonesia, go to Bali and shit like that. Yeah, it's pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What is like the progression of like what you plan to do here? Do you plan to like, you ever think of like leaving to other countries?
I've thought about it, like just to like mix it up. So I've like lived in the US now at this point, closing in on 8 years. So I've thought, maybe it'd be cool to like, I don't know, live in Germany for a little bit. Maybe it'd be cool to like live in South Africa. It's all random shit. I don't know if I have opportunities there, because this is it. Like being here, like it's bang for my buck essentially. Like I can make the most money and have the best lifestyle living here. Although I am doing a podcast / interview at in a trailer park in a suspect part of town, so I'm kind of denying my own logic here. But no offense, but I think this is where I can make the most financial gain, lifestyle gain. But it'd be interesting to live somewhere else for sure.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that's do you ever think about? Because I always think about like the progression of things as like. Because I always forget your job. I just feel like engineer. Is that, or what is it?
Yeah, I am an engineer by education, by qualification, but I'm a more of a product person now. I'm a product manager. Mm-hmm. So, but I have a team of engineers that I work with. But I don't know if you know the whole concept of product management. But the idea being that you need somebody, so you have technology, people build technology products. Like, Facebook is a technology product, Twitter, Instagram, or anything else. Amazon has like so many things that they do within like Amazon.com. But you need somebody who's a product manager. So they're not a people manager, but they are trying to understand what the customer needs, what the market needs, what's going to be most profitable, what's going to drive the most number of users. That kind of different metrics, and you want to be able to work with engineers. So that's the product person. So that's what I am right now.
And was that a decision? Because I talked to a few of my Indian buddies I used to play hoops with, and I was just like, why did you do that? And It basically just says because my parents wanted me to. When you pick like that type of field, is that just a you thing or family influence?
Yeah, I mean, not as much family influence, but just everybody does that. It's more of like the norm. Like everybody does engineering. It's so funny that in India, when you like graduate from high school, right, or about to graduate, they don't ask you like, what do you want to do, right? What are your hopes and aspirations? That's not the framing of the question. It's not even, do you want to go to college? It's not even, do you want to do engineering? It's more of what engineering are you going to do? Like it's all, everything else is a given. So if you're a senior in high school, it's a given that you're going to go to college. It's a given that you're going to go study engineering. The big decision is, are you going to do computer science, or are you going to do like construction or civil or mechanical engineering, electrical engineering? That's like, you get to choose that. Even in that, there's like classism within the types of engineering. People will look down on like a structural engineer because like, if you didn't get a good like score on your SATs, what are the Indian equivalent of an SAT, that's when you do civil engineering. If you like really you did well, you'll do computer science.
Do you think it's good that they kind of pressure kids from the start to kind of get a career like that?
I mean, I don't think so. Because right now, the problem, like from a macro level, the problem India is having as a country is like there's so many engineers right now. There isn't like enough kind of heterogeneity in the talent pool and the skills that are needed. There aren't enough accountants. There aren't enough like other shit because everybody's just doing engineering, and it's like the quality has plummeted. Like one of the CEOs of a big like tech firm in India, he said that 98% of the engineers in India today are unemployable, right? Mm-hmm. That's not a good place to be in. So it's just like a weird like backwards ass thing that is going on. So I don't think that's good. Like you need to like let people have more options. But there's a survivorship thing here. For the people who did do well, now you can like you have more options. You can move out to different countries and make a good living and things like that. So I move here. I already had a bachelor's in mechanical engineering. I move here and then I get my graduate, my master's degree. Now I'm in the job market. I have like a lot of visa restrictions for the things that I can do, and that's a pain in the ass to maintain like a work status here. And I can only work for one employer, and I have to like do a whole visa processing if I have to change employers. I can't open up my own business. Like you picked up the camera and you said, I'm just gonna freelance, click a couple of pictures for a few people, get a $50 here, $50 there. I can't really do that because it's illegal for me to do that. That's kind of the downside to it as somebody who's moving here. But outside of that, like I can pretty much, if I put the work into it, I can get a job as a product manager or a product person in any tech firm.
Do you think that's to your detriment as far as negotiations on like salary and all that?
A little bit. But it's like the labor market is so weird. Like there are not a lot of product managers out there. There are a lot like in absolute numbers, but relative to how many are needed. So like it's an in-demand skill set. So even with the visa restrictions, all the big companies will foot the bill for all the immigration stuff.
When the people get, say you graduated college in India.
Yeah.
When you're going to the job market, do you pick? Is it basically just go to America to find work, or do you guys take into play Germany or like Russia, Asia?
Yeah. People will take into consideration different countries. US, obviously, for me personally at least, and I'll speak for others also. Like this was probably number one choice. But yeah, I had applied to one school only in Germany, kind of reluctantly just to mix it up. Canada is a big one too. I didn't apply, but a lot of people try to go to Canada too because Canada has a more like friendly like immigration policy. They'll do it based on your, they have like a point system, like a merit based system. So they'll like look at all the factors that you have and then like give you a consolidated score, and then they rank it based on that. In the US, it's all tethered to the employer. It's not you who applies for the visa, it's your employer who does that. So that's kind of annoying. So there has to be a different institute. Like for a student visa, there has to be a school that's stamping it. For a work visa, there has to be a company that sponsors it. So you have to move employers, you have to move your whole visa thing, redo everything all over again, which is annoying. Some countries are more friendly. So if that was not the case, if the US like fixes its I guess temporary work visa like process, it'd be insane. It would be a no-brainer to move to the US. Only reason not to move to the US, maybe go to Canada or Australia or maybe Germany or Belgium or whatever is the visa policy.
And does it? So do you have to do that even when you apply for a job? Or is that only when you accept a job for the visa? Because I can just imagine a poor situation where it's just like you go for another job and then they say, actually, we don't need you. Do you just go back to India?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little more nuanced than that, and I can go into the nitty gritty of like the details of how it works. So you cannot, so as it stands today, you can technically have an employer who does business in India and you're employed with them and they do business here in the US. They could apply for your work visa for a position in the US, and if it gets approved, you can move that way. But that's getting less and less. The major way people move here is they'll like just do a graduate degree. It's not like I really wanted to do like a graduate like program, but that's like a short way of moving to this country. And like with your graduate degree, you get 3 years of work authorization, so you can figure out a way to like move into a work visa status. So that's kind of the thing. So it's all like upfront. So you'd be like, okay, if your visa gets approved, that's when you move employers. If your visa doesn't get approved, you don't move employers. And yeah, if you can't find a job, so I cannot be like unemployed for more than I think 60 days.
What happens if, say, if you get to the point, I'm not sure if it's inhibited your comedy career at all, but say you're slowly start to become a road comic, then you get maybe like $1,000 a weekend working shows and shit. Can you take that opportunity, or are you?
No, I don't. I can't, and I won't. Like I won't jeopardize. Like, you know, this is just a hobby for me, so I'll just do that. And if I do get a green card, which is probably I get a green card in the next, it'll take 20 more years.
20 years?
Yeah, no joking. Like 20 is like actually an aggressive timeline. Probably more like 50 years if it like keeps up. If like the current rate keeps up, because the number of applicants keep going up, but the processing is like so much slower. It's not even a joke. And they cap it by like place of birth. So India has a lot of people already in queue, so you get like lower priority. So if you're like, if I was born in like Sri Lanka or something, just happenstance, right? If I was born in Sri Lanka or Bangladesh, I'd probably have my green card by now, just because I'm born in India. If you're born in India or China, that's a problem because there's a lot of people in queue already. So for me, from comedy standpoint, I either have to like get a green card or just do it as a hobby. That's it.
Yeah, you're the first person I heard say it's just like a hobby. Everyone, at least everyone I've talked to, they have like the bigger ambitions. Like, I just want to be like a road comic. I just want to be able to live off of this. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, personally, well, I think that if I had that option, I would love to consider it. But hey, I don't. I mean, I want to start my own business. I have a lot of fucking ideas to start a business, like a a tech business, but I can't pursue that really because I'm not allowed on my visa status. So that's kind of the golden handcuffs that you get.
Yeah, I can see that you don't want to jeopardize just the quality of life you have here. So,
like, you mean like, so move to India and do comedy there?
I mean, can you do comedy there?
Sure, yeah.
I think I was listening to Joe Rogan. It's just like Akash Singh said someone make like a joke about like some type of royalty, and then he got put into jail or something.
Yeah, I love the fact that Akash Singh like gave that shout out, because that was such a big story in India, and it's great to see that, like, now you as a comic here in Arizona, you know about it. So that's kind of cool to think about that happened. Yeah, there's problems, like, I mean, it's not as open as here in terms of doing jokes and people taking a joke, like the incident at the Oscars, not considering that. That was like an India-like moment. Like, that's something you'd see in a club in India. You say something, somebody doesn't like it, they'll fucking punch you.
I forgot who said, but they said that other countries are kind of like where America was like in the 70s when it comes to stand-up, as far as like it being new to say these things on stage and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Yeah, like anything to do with religion, like people like India, like since I moved here, actually, like, within the few months before I moved to the US, like, India elected like a super right-wing government that's been in power, that's been in like administration since 2014. Not to make this political, but there's a lot of like shady shit with that administration. They really don't want people like talking shit about the country or talking shit about certain religions. So it's very like, it's kind of Taliban-esque kind of vibe. It's not that, obviously India is a democratic country, but there's that like there's a layer of that, and it's getting more and more. And I haven't visited in 6 years really, so I don't even know like how it is right now. So I'm visiting, like, actually I'm flying out in a couple of weeks, so I'll know more of what the fuck is going on there and report back. But
part two.
yeah, part two for this shit. But yeah, so I'm excited to go back home though. But yeah, it's comedy is sketchy, man. Like, you like say the wrong thing, even if it, like, in your mind it's not the wrong thing, even if it's the mildest shit, if the wrong person gets offended, they can fuck you over. That one guy Munawar, like, who Akash Singh was talking about, he was in prison for like, not prison, probably in jail. He was in jail for like a month. They wouldn't give him bail because they want to fuck with him.
How was it when you first started stand up? I mean, when growing up, is there kind of like that that mindset of watch what you say type of deal, even as a kid, or is it kind of just like freelance or it's whatever?
Like talking shit and stuff to friends and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of shit talking. Like, India is a very shit talking like culture. Like, you bust people's balls and things like that. You know, when you're with your friends, you're like roasting each other all the time. So it's kind of like that. So within friends, it's okay. But if you say something to the wrong person, yeah, they'll fuck you up, bro. They don't give a shit. Which I don't think is unlike how it is here. Like, you can't mouth off like a rando at a bar, like at 11 p.m.
No,
they'll try to fuck with you.
Yeah, you can't treat everyone like a homie that you know.
Yeah.
Sure.
So there's like, if you're with your homies, yeah, you can talk shit, and like there's like very, very I don't know what the adjective is, but it's a very intense shit talking culture.
Yeah. So you said something prior to the cameras, like for your first joke on stage, you got an applause break. Is that right?
Yeah. This is. Yeah, I feel like a dick just saying that, but hey, it is what it is, man. I'm not saying that I like crushed. That's kind of a bad thing that happened, because my mind was all fucked with, right? Then when you bomb, you feel like the highs are high, really high, the lows are really low. But yeah, the first joke I said on stage got an applause break, albeit it was a kind of an artsy-fartsy, like a finger snapping, poetry slam, like mixed mic sort of a deal.
Yeah.
Very supportive, like 50, like 60 people in the audience, that kind of a mic. But still, it's not like everybody got like an applause break.
Where is that at? Or is it like not exist anymore?
I think it's still there. I think, I forget the name, but it used to have, it happens at the Phoenix Center for the Arts.
I think I heard what you're talking about.
Yeah, I forget the name, but yeah, so it's a mixed mic. Not a lot of comedians go there. So I just found out about it, like from a friend or probably my wife who gave that information to me. But yeah, I showed up, I did my first joke, and I have that on video too, and applause break. So I think at least I have that. I'm gonna make that an NFT.
What was the joke?
So I had long hair. It's like a fucking prop comic. So I mean, my hair's like this now. It's whatever. It's fucked up. That's why I have this longshoreman's hat on.
Yeah.
You know, I look like an migrant worker outside of a Home Depot right now. I didn't know you're gonna like shoot it in 4K.
Okay.
But so I had long hair, right? So it's like almost like a center part, like that's where my like hair naturally goes. I had like a long beard, like much longer than this, like probably more like your beard, like a thick, nice beard, black hair, and then like long hair that go up to here. So right. So then I walked up on stage, and I said, "This is what Jesus would have looked like if he was not white and blonde." That's all.
And it erupted.
And they were like, "Ha ha ha ha!" You can just like people clapping and shit like that.
I was talking to like, because it's like, it was bad.
Thank you for not laughing at that joke, by the way. It's my applause break joke. I'm just kidding, of course. It's like a mediocre thing to say. It's like, it's more of like you had to be there. You know how they say, like, when something's not funny, you had to be there.
Context is everything.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
You probably had the dopest setup, everything.
No, that's all it was. I just walked up and that's what I said.
Nice. Okay, so. But you got hella cocky off of that though, right?
Not, man, to be honest, yeah, no. Like, I did not really get cocky. I have like I have issues with like, I don't know if I would call it low self-esteem, but like in my mind, anything I accomplish, immediately in my mind, anybody could have done that. That's nothing. That ain't shit. So that kind of like counterbalances that I did well, but in my mind I was like, okay, I did well. Probably that'll make reasons. Oh, the crowd was easy. It was like a poetry slam
Just
crowd.
finding ways to discredit yourself.
Yes, there you go.
Because I was thinking, have you seen that video of Ti from this morning? Or maybe it was
I
this
did
morning.
not.
But some girl was making jokes about the sexual allegations he made, and what he did is he came up and then he like took the mic off her hand and just basically told her to get off stage, and it was her show and the whole 9 yards. And since I think like he just started stand up recently, like because he already has like millions and millions of followers, I feel like it gives you like a false sense of funny because you're like anything you say it's just like haha, but you've never had like a silence.
Right. I'm gonna be very honest, dude. I have no fucking idea who Ti is.
You don't know who Ti is?
As a rapper, I guess my guess would be he's a rapper.
No, it's fine. You don't know him. He's not like he was like big in like 2008. I guess.
Yeah, in 2008, I was in high school in India. Probably not listening. Is he a rapper? R&B? What is he?
He's a rapper. Yeah, from ATL.
ATL. He probably went to what is that? Grady's mental like asylum. What's that mental asylum in Atlanta?
No, I'm not hip with the mental asylums that go on within Atlanta.
Yeah. I will not disclose like the person's name, but dude, I had this friend of mine who ended up in that. That's why I know the name. That's the only reason. It's the creepiest story.
Was it like one of those things where he was normal, but then they just kept him in?
Yeah, he was like the most normal guy ever. Brilliant. Yeah, a little like whatever, a little weird, a little nervousy, like kind of nerdy guy.
Like everyone.
Yeah, just like a little nerdy guy. He was like really smart, and like I don't know what the fuck happened. Hadn't talked to the guy in like I want to say 4 years. Hadn't talked to the guy in at least 4 years. I was with my girl. With my girl, I was. We were in Ventura, California. Just like weekend, we had this Airbnb. Just happy mood. Like we're gonna go there. Get set up in the Airbnb. Go out. Like have a good time at the beach and shit like that. And I get this guy's call, and I was like, "Why is this guy calling?" I pick up the phone. And he starts talking about all kinds of weird shit, dude. Like he's like, hey man, I'm in a lot of trouble. Like, I was doing really well at my company and I got into some trouble with some cops and like they put me in this mental asylum, and like he starts going off on this whole like weird thing, and like none of the things that he was saying made any sense. He's talking about how somebody poisoned him at a restaurant. Somebody gave him shellfish, but he was allergic to shellfish. So then like he started like whatever. His glands started swelling. So he was fighting with the restaurant people, and they kept refusing. They didn't give him shellfish. Then the cops showed up. He got into an altercation with the cops, and then he says like he got raped he said they put him in prison. Then he got raped in prison, and then like somehow he got out, and like. His life was going so well before this happened. His boss had Taylor Swift do a private like show for him, like just like the kookiest shit, right?
So,
but I'll say the last thing. Yeah. The weirdest fucking shit about that was, he said they took away his phone at the whatever fucking mental institute. They took away his phone, all his personal belongings, because he was like, I think the cops put him there. How did he remember my phone number? I hadn't talked to the guy in 4 years. That's the shit that like I still think about sometimes. Like, I have not talked to this dude in like 4 years. How did he know my number? How did he know to call me? That was like a story with a very anti-climax. But that's
but it's kind of like, it's very much like a, I don't know, like cliche term is like a head scratcher, but it's just like how though? Because that's the first thing when you said he called you and you didn't recognize his number. It's like nobody, unless you're tight with him, he'd have you as an emergency contact.
No, I hadn't talked, like I hung out with him like back in the day. Like I wouldn't say he was my best friend, but I knew him pretty well. But then obviously we just parted ways, didn't talk to him. And I think I'm doing a good job of like being nondescript. I don't want to like point to like who he is.
No, definitely.
Even though this is like going to be, the viewership on this is not going to get to the Grady mental asylum, I'm sure. But it was the weirdest thing, dude. And like, how you have like a true caller or whatever on your phone, like you can check the number. That's how I checked it. It was a random number. I picked up the phone. We had this whole conversation, and he was like crying and shit on the phone. And then I'm laughing now, but then I went back and checked where that number was from to like just make sure if this guy's just like having a mental breakdown in his room. The number was actually, it said like Grady, whatever, fucking mental institute, 3rd floor. It had that on the online, like whatever, phone verification thing.
Oh, so that's kind of creepy, to be honest. I feel, I don't know.
It is pretty weird. Like, how did he know my number? And we talked for like 45 minutes.
That time when he called you?
Yeah.
How do you have that much time?
Me?
No, that guy.
And I think he gets like an hour, whatever time.
He used his hour on you, man. That's sweet.
That's sweet, creepy. I don't know what it is. But I don't know how we got on this tangent, but that was weird. We were talking about Atlanta, right? That's how I know. Like, that's every time somebody says Atlanta, that's what I think of.
Does that make you not want to go to Atlanta?
I've been to Atlanta. I don't know. That's fine.
Quick question. Kind of
A lot of blacks. No, I'm just kidding. It's a joke, people. I'm a comedian, a hobbyist, but I'm still a comedian.
I think it's synonymous, but it's fine. But no, it's kind of curry up, kind of rally off. Are you allowed? So you're allowed to travel out of state and everything like that. You just have to go to work, right?
Jesus Christ, yeah, dude. I'm not in the Grady mental asylum.
I have no idea how it works. I just feel like you can't even do
that. So yeah, here's the thing. So there are 2 things. Okay.
Yeah.
As a non-US citizen, to get into the country, you need a visa. Visa is only an entering document. Visa is because people probably don't understand that a visa is just for you to get into the country, right? And you need to have a purpose and all of that for the visa category. You go to the embassy, they stamp it. So like, you're good to enter, right? After you enter though, you need to also have like a legitimate reason to stay here, right? So that's why you either need to be in school or you need to have an employer. So those are the only things. If you're employed, your work status is good, you can live here. You can do whatever the fuck you want essentially. But it's not like you can just pick up and like leave your job today just and say I have like enough savings. I can't just say like I have enough saved up. I'm just gonna hang out for like 3 months. I figure it out later. I can't do that. Or I can't be like, oh, I have enough money saved up. I'm gonna quit my job, just do comedy full time. I have enough money saved up. Maybe I have this idea. I'm gonna get together with a few friends. Just incorporate start a small business and or start a tech business. I can't do any of that in a straightforward way. That's kind of that's the golden handcuffs. That's what I hate.
Is it? Well, of course you just said you hate it, but I was just saying like, is it frustrating that you can't do anything about that? Considering you said a visa is 20 years aggressively.
Yeah, I mean,
green card.
Yeah, green card. I mean, a green card is as good. Like once you have your green card, you can pretty much do anything, right? Like it's you don't get to vote, you don't do jury duty, but who gives a fuck about that shit? But you can basically do whatever you want, like in terms of work and stuff like that. But yeah, it is frustrating. It's not like I can't do anything about it. It's my personal choice. I'm not going to be here, oh, the woe is me, I'm the victim here. It's my choice. I can leave the country, I can move to a different country, and I can suck it up and move to Canada. It's going to be cold, but they'll give me their equivalent of a green card in 2 years, right? And then I can just do that. But I'm making a choice because I like it here, because I think this is where the action is. This is where all the actual tech stuff is happening, and I'm into that thing. So
that's what they're doing all the marathons too. Side note, you run marathons. I think that's crazy. It was only it looked like you only trained for it for 3 weeks, honestly.
Yeah, more like 4. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. You followed my journey on stories.
It's because I was training for a marathon the exact same time as you.
Oh, did you run the Mesa?
No, well, the thing is, the way my running was, I didn't run on my toes because I can't run as long if I'm just running on the toes. And then I was running on I don't know, my full foot and kind of curving it. And I almost tore my meniscus just running that way. And I couldn't twist it. And I'm and then I see you and I'm just just don't do what I did.
Yeah, that's a problem. I'm not, the camera can tell, I'm not the fittest guy, but I can go on, I can take pain, I can go on for a long time.
Honestly, shocking you did it, I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, that's my 3rd marathon.
Really?
Yeah, but every time, it's the same thing every time though. 2020, obviously, there was no marathon, but I said 2020, we did do marathon. 2021, they cancelled it. So I did 2019, 2020, 22. Every time, start training in January. January 1, start training. Mid-February is when the marathon is.
Is that just something you like to do once a year, or do you just enjoy running?
I like running, but it's like a love-hate relationship with running. Like my relationship with running is like same as my relationship with the American immigration system. Like I like it, I love it because I can be here, but I hate it for all the pitfalls. So it's kind of that kind of a thing.
Yeah, I kind of like, I don't like doing it, but I just like having it done.
Yeah,
like I like
feel good.
Like David Goggins, I don't know if you heard of him, but he just said like he just likes the feeling of like just doing something hard and just getting that done within the morning. So
yeah, it's kind of time to space out. Like you work out and shit. Like but I used to work out like a lot, but then I was like tapered off, just like anything. It's not like a conscious decision. Like I'd like to work out, but I just don't do it. But like running is something that's easily accessible. It's like I have a weird like thought around this. Like I want the least amount of setup cost, like not in terms of money, in terms of time. I put on my running shoes, I'm out the door, I'm running. I don't want to drive to a motherfucking place and like, it's like 20-30 minutes of setup time. I go to the gym, somebody has the squat rack. That shit bothers me. That's like, what am I doing?
I think I've done, because I strayed away from running because I feel like I wasn't getting the aesthetic results I ever wanted from it.
Aesthetic results, yeah.
I wanted to look like kind of more muscle, but I just will go to the gym, we'll do like 200 reps a bench, and then I'm like, I don't do like anything. It's just like, let me just work chest every day. That's fun to me. And then that's it. And
wow. How much weight do you have on the bar for 200 reps?
Probably like 115.
God damn it, dude, you're Dominican. That's a lot. 200 reps, like how do you break it down?
I do
10 20s.
I do like 20s, and then I take a minute break, then I'll do another 10, and then I take a 3-minute break. And then
I like do. Wow, that's a lot.
But then I just mix it up. I'll do that same thing, but I'll do it with like squats, or I'll do it with like shoulder press. But I've been slacking for like the last.
So you're like more of the kind of just the compound movement, the big movement. That's what I like to do as well. Like I should probably get back into the gym because I feel much better. Like if I'm working out, like doing just those like compound movements, squat, bench press, whatever, deadlift. I'm not like doing crazy weight for like my body type and whatnot. But you just feel stronger for some reason. You're moving shit around the house. It's just like even my running is so much better if I'm squatting. Like if I squat regularly, I know I'm going to be running better, like more comfortable and not like, not have like a cramp or anything like that. I don't know what it is. I just feel stronger.
No, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Just kind of, it's more like just mental. So I could feel happier, honestly. Like I don't got to do like a 6-month training schedule. It's like, let me just do randomness. And that's what that makes me.
Yeah. Just do something. I mean, that's the most important thing. You got to do something.
Yeah. So kind of to cap this off, I mean, I have the same basic question I do for everyone, but say you see this in like 10 years, man. What do you expect out of yourself, or like where do you want to be?
Wow, that's a good one. I hadn't thought about that. Like I know that's a cliched question. I'm gonna commentate on your question. That's a cliche question, like a job interview question. Where do you see yourself in like 5 years or 10 years? But that's never genuine, so I don't think about it. Like, but like you asking it, like really makes it seem genuine. I mean, like for me, I'd probably want to have my green card.
You won't have your green card.
I won't have my green card. No, for me personally, man, like I want to have like, good families.
Is that because that's what kind of I didn't like when you said that you have to wait so long to get it, because and not to be like a bad way, like your lifestyle, like unless you move up in the company, won't change too much. You'll just have the same job with a family, but family isn't.
No, but I'll move up. But there's no reason I'm not gonna move up. I can move up like in the same job. I can fucking really perform well in my career and change companies, keep moving up the corporate ladder. I could do that, and I definitely want to do that. So like on a family front, like so I'm married. We don't have any kids just yet, but we do plan to have kids. So from 10 years from now, I probably want to have 2 kids. Have a good, happy family. Really excel at my job, excel at what I do. So I'm, like I said, I'm a product person. So I want to keep become more of a leader. And I'm kind of a leader right now, but become more of that in the next 10 years. Comedy wise, I still want to be doing it. I'm not going to say I won't be doing it.
I like it.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I want to be doing things that help me creatively. Maybe I'll find something else also. Maybe that's there. I like to have conversations with people, so that's why my podcast is there. And I like doing comedy. I like, taking like an abstract idea, taking my point of view, framing it in terms of a joke. Because just saying your idea is one thing, but like framing it in terms of a joke, that's an additional level of like complexity that I like. So I want to be pursuing my creative things. I want to be like, have a good, happy family, have a good, thriving career. At the same time, I want to be a rich guy who does things. Like, I don't want to be a fucking rich guy who's just like, that's all he does, just do your job and just come back home. I want a fucking rich guy who does his own yard work. I mean, this is like corny or silly or whatever.
Before, I'm not sure if we caught it on camera now, but you said that when you first before you got into comedy, prior to that, you was getting kind of mundane with just the monotonous, like clock in, clock out, paycheck, paycheck.
Yeah, I want to say, there you go. I want to be successful, like in the traditional sense, but at the same time, I want to be active. I want to be somebody who's like, who does things with their hands. Like, I like working, like doing yard work, like shit like that, because I want to be like connected to my roots. Like, I don't want to be like somebody who's like this so fucking prissy asshole you clear 500, like, or $500,000 a year, or you make $1 million a year. Does that mean that you're this like pristine person who's not gonna pick up your own bags, or who's not gonna like cook a meal for yourself? That kind of shit. I don't know if that made sense. Like, this was in the moment. I hadn't thought about it like that, but that's how I see this shit.
Fade to black.